Look, over there. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Gatewood Cape, man. Well, my real name is Dan, and today I'm reviewing the Six Moon Designs Gatewood Cape that can be used as both a tarp and a poncho. And together with that, I'm reviewing the Six Moon Designs Serenity Net Tent that can be used in conjunction with the Gatewood Cape. So why use a tarp poncho combo in the first place? Well, the biggest benefit is the fact that you can leave behind your rain jacket and not have to carry that as extra weight. In this particular case, you also get to use this as a double wall shelter if you use it in combination with the net tent. And that gives you the benefit of being able to use either or both together and give you some more flexibility. This particular Gatewood Cape comes in at 12 ounces. Now they do have a newer version that they updated pretty much right after I bought this one, of course. That comes in at 10 ounces, so 2 ounces lighter, and it's also 40% less packed volume, which is pretty incredible because this one, I don't know, in my opinion, it's pretty small. I'm not exactly sure how they achieved that. They say that it's a newer, updated material. I did reach out to them to ask about that, so if I hear back from them before I publish this video, I'll put in some text about that. But I'm assuming that it's probably a thinner material to make it both lighter and a little more compact. But both versions, this one and the new one, are made out of sil nylon, so they do need to be seam sealed. And the price, as of this posting, is $135 for the Gatewood Cape. Let's go ahead and open this up and show you what it looks like in poncho mode. The Gatewood Cape stuffs into its own pocket, which is quite nice, so no extra stuff sack that you have to bring with you. Just unzip it, take it out. The one that I got is the gray color, but they also have a green one. Unfold that, and just being a poncho, put it over yourself. Might help if I take my hat off. And there you go. So you have 2 holes on either side for your arms to fit through, and it actually has some pretty nice coverage, unless you have really long arms potentially. But yeah, for a poncho, it covers most of your arms quite well, so I like that. It has dual YKK zippers, so you can zip it all the way down the bottom, but you can also open it up from the top if you want to give a little bit of extra ventilation. And it has some Velcro covers all the way down the zipper to give yourself extra rain protection. It has a hood, and the hood is adjustable, so you can sit it down and get a nice tight seal. You can also use that pocket that you stuffed it into as a nice big inside pocket, so it's completely waterproof, really big, and can put a lot of gear in there. The cape is big enough to go over a pack, so that's other weight savings. If you normally bring a pack cover with you, you don't have to do that with this. You can just fit it completely over your pack. Now, in case the poncho is a little too long for you, I'm fairly short. I'm 5'7", so of course it's too long for me. But if you find that it's dragging on the ground a bit, especially the lines, it has these really nifty little snaps that you can use to snap the lines at the end of the poncho, curl them up, and then snap them into place. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if you take a couple of the end lines that you would use to put your stakes through, you take those and then put them inside of the snaps. See? Just snap those together. Then it's not touching the ground nearly as much. Now, because the tent is made out of sil nylon, it is not a breathable material by any means. But the good thing about any poncho is that because it's so open, the entire thing just has a lot of ventilation. So as far as breathability is concerned, it's really not that bad at all. In fact, I'd say it's better than most really expensive breathable rain jackets. That's pretty much it for the poncho. So let me take this off and we'll set it up in tarp mode and show you what that looks like. And here's the Gatewood Cape all set up in tarp mode. Do a little walk around. Now it is a single trekking pole design tarp, and what you do is you connect the tip of your trekking pole through this little grommet, and then you can actually take off this whole harness through these little connectors here. But I never find that they get in the way in terms of the poncho, so I just leave the whole thing there. The nice thing about the hood is you can open it up in nice weather, and then you have a really, really big vent at the top, which will really help with condensation. But if you need to, you can just put the hood over the top and then even cinch it down to block any rain. And like I had said before, it has dual YKK zippers, so you can zip it down from the top if you want, or from the bottom. So let's open that up. And then it does have a tie out point with a little toggle right here, so you can roll the whole thing back. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Probably not. But you can tie it back with this this toggle and open up the door completely. And then you could take off this door through this little clip here and then roll this back, but there is no tie out point on that side, but you can just kind of flip the thing over if you really want to. Now it takes 5 stakes, one at the apex, and then 5 more at the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the guy out points don't use any line lock adjusters. It's just a straight cord with a couple knots in it, so you can adjust where you want to put the stake. Generally speaking, the further out you put the stake, the higher your tarp can be off the ground for ventilation. But if you need to cinch it down with bad weather or if it's cold outside, you can put it closer to here or here, and that will leave it closer to the ground. Inside, it's pretty spacious for being a poncho tarp. Has quite a lot of room. You can completely sit up inside the tarp without any problem. Again, I'm 5'7", but I think you can sit up in here even if you're 6 foot or so. And laying back, have plenty of room with that too, if you just have the poncho. And you can also use that little pocket as an inside pocket for your gear. All right, let's toss in the Serenity Net Tent, and I'll show you what that looks like set up inside the Gatewood Cape. All right, we have the Serenity Net Tent all set up. There's really nothing to it, which is why I didn't really show you the whole setup video. You just place it inside of the Gatewood Cape, and then at each guy out point with the tent stakes, there are these little clips that you just clip onto the cord, and then there are bungee cords attached to the Serenity Net Tent. And you have that on all 5 sides on the outside, and then on the inside, there's this little tab here that you can just pull out and place underneath your trekking pole. And then at the top, there's a little clip from the very top of the net tent that clips to this little tab on the very top here, and that's how you hold up the net tent. The net tent weighs 11 ounces, and as of this posting, is priced at $125. All right, let's take a look inside. Now, having the net tent, you do sacrifice a little bit of headroom, but it's still pretty good. I can sit up here in here completely without bumping my head. And the length of it is not bad. It is a little cozy, but for a one-person, again, poncho tarp combo, it's pretty good. And if I scooch all the way down so my feet are touching the net, now I have a pretty good amount of headroom on top of me. So I think this could really fit a person maybe up to, I don't know, 6 feet or so, maybe a little more. Anything more than that, and you really be pushing it, in my opinion. Again, I'm 5'7". There is no interior pocket, so if you really need to have that kind of a thing on the net tent, there is nothing like that. But again, there is that pocket on the Gatewood Cape. And it is really hot today, so I am going to get out of here. Well, I was hoping to show you what the Serenity Net Tent looks like set up just by itself, but I forgot to bring a guy line with me to guide this out so it'll stand up by itself, but I think you'll get the idea. So the grommet down at the bottom of the net tent, you put the tip of the trekking pole through there, and then there's a Velcro strap here to put around the trekking pole, and then the clip at the top, you can just guy that out to the front to stake it down. And then the other 5 stakes, you just use those little bungee cords and stake it down that way. So you can set this up completely independent of the Gatewood Cape if you want to have a nice night out under the stars. Let's talk about a few of my likes and dislikes of the Gatewood Cape / Serenity Net Tent. My first like is the weight, both the weight of the gear itself and the fact that I get to have weight savings from not bringing a rain jacket and a pack cover with me. I also really like the innovative design of the Gatewood Cape. It really just works. As a poncho tarp combo, you'd think that you'd have to make a lot of trade-offs and sacrifices, but with this thing, I really don't feel like I need to. The overall design of it just works. So 6 Moon Designs, hats off to you. You really got the design of this thing right. I also like the easy setup. It maybe takes 3-4 minutes once you have it down, both with the Gatewood Cape and the net tent. So setup is quite easy in my opinion. And lastly, I like the price. I think $135 for a poncho tarp combo is pretty good, especially when you get rain gear out of it as well. And the $125 for the net tent, in my opinion, is a pretty good deal. Now let's go over a few of my dislikes. My first complaint is relatively minor, but I really would like to see toggles on both doors. I love to be able to open up both of the doors when it's a really nice night, get a great breeze going through there. So the fact that they don't have a toggle on both of the doors is kind of a bummer to me. My second dislike is the fact that the bottom grommet on the Serenity Net Tent slides out from underneath the trekking pole pretty easily. Now there's a grommet there, and it's there because if you want to set up the net tent by itself, you can insert the tip of the trekking pole into that grommet. But when you're using it with the Gatewood Cape, all you can do is slide it underneath the handle of the trekking pole. And I find that just pulls out way too easily, and it's just kind of frustrating. My third complaint is I am having some quality issues with the bug netting on the Serenity Net Tent. It's starting to stretch out in some areas, not really bad, and I don't think that a bug can necessarily get through there yet, but still just minor quality issues. Another issue I have is really just a wish list item for me, but they have these the little loops that you can use to bring up the Gatewood Cape and curl it up while it's in poncho mode so it's not dragging on the ground. But they are on the inside of the Gatewood Cape, and it's a perfect spot where you could loop it around the net tent and bring that net tent a little more off your face just to give you a little extra room. But you would need to have some sort of a patch and a little loop to be able to do that on the net tent. But they don't have anything like that. So if 6 Moon Designs is watching, I would highly recommend adding something like that to take advantage of those loops inside the cape when you're using it in tarp mode. My other complaint is actually the stuff sack that comes with the net tent. It's not a nylon stuff sack. They actually just use the bug netting as a stuff sack. And I ripped it pretty much right away because you have to stuff it in there, and it's so easy to rip. I think they do this just so that it can dry out a little more easily if like the bottom of it is wet or something. And I get that, but I don't think it dries out that easily anyway, since you have to stuff that in here. I would much rather just have a nylon stuff sack. My last and final dislike is really not a complaint at all about the Gatewood Cape, but really just a challenge overall with any type of a poncho tarp setup. And that's the fact that hiking with a poncho comes with its inherent challenges. Mainly the fact that it is much easier to get snagged on any kind of trees or branches or thorns than it is with a rain jacket. So you just have to put up with that. But again, that's with any type of a poncho setup. You also have the challenge of what do you do if you're at camp, you set up the tent, and it's pouring, but you still need to do some camp chores. Well, what I tend to do is just bring a little emergency poncho with me, just one of those disposable ones, They're really light, a couple of ounces. I know it negates a little bit of the weight savings that you get from not bringing a rain jacket, but in my opinion, it's well worth just having an extra little poncho. But nevertheless, it is a challenge of what in the world do you do when you're at camp and you can't use the tent anymore as a poncho. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, have fun out there. I'll also be reviewing the 6 Moon Design Serenity Net Tent that can accompany this. Where in the world did it go? It is really, really hot out here. Cut this.